queste cose? Hmm?
Hey everyone, my name is Jessica. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. It's been a while since I did a sit down. I'm back. I think this is like my first sit down video of the year, and it's February 7th. I just didn't feel like filming. I know I don't really need to give you guys like a reason why, but I feel like I kind of should give a little bit of an explanation. I just didn't feel like filming, so I didn't. But are we surprised that my first video back is a book haul? I never said I was gonna go on like a book buying ban, but I did want to like lower my book buying, but that has not been working out so well. It's quite a bit of books, and forgive like my shelf situation. I'm still figuring them out. Like, this was my shelf that I've had for a while, and then I just got this one, and I got one that's like right next to my bed. So this is like my shelf that's filled with like books that I've either read recently or that I just bought, and I just took a couple of books from there, more than a couple of books, but the shelf wasn't even full anyway. But anyway, this is gonna be a really long video. Let's get started. So first, I want to start off with 3 books that I was actually sent, because there are 3 books that I didn't buy. And first, I want to, like, for the life of me, their Twitter, it's like Claire _ Dara. I'm gonna put their Twitter handle right here. I tweeted that I really wanted an arc of Lobizona, and they told me that they had an arc that they would love to send me, so they sent it to me, and here it is. But seriously, I was so freaking grateful to do this, to receive this. I made like an Instagram story about it. The author, Romina Garber, she like shared it on her Instagram story. But then, guys, this was absolutely insane. On Monday, I got home from work and I had a package from Wednesday Books, the publishing company, and I haven't requested, I've never gotten anything. Like, I got books one time from Kensington Publishing, but I haven't requested anything, so I was really confused when I came home and I saw a package on my bed. So I came home, I opened it, and it was an arc of Lobizona, which I know I have this one, but like, I received it and I didn't request it, and I was so confused because I was like, I didn't request it. How did they get my address? But it was just so surreal that I was sent an arc. So thank you so much, Wednesday Books. Thank you so much, Romina Garber. Because I have 2, I think I want to do a giveaway. I'll figure it out. It's gonna be on my Twitter. I'll figure it out. Details to come. Let me tell you what Lobizona is about. So Lobizona is about a 16-year-old named Manuela. She's Argentinian. Her family lives in Florida, and she is undocumented and an immigrant. She runs away from home because she is chased out by her father's crime family, and so she has to leave Florida. Interestingly enough, she's also a werewolf. It's like a story about immigration, and also has like some paranormal / fantasy stuff in it, and I'm so excited to read this. This comes out May 5th, 2020, so I'm so excited to read this. I definitely want to read this soon. And like I said, I'm probably going to do a giveaway for the other arc, but I'll figure it out, and I'm going to put it on Twitter. Another arc that I received, I was contacted by Sourcebooks if I wanted to receive this arc like the end of 2019, so I received this literally I received this literally December 31st, 2019. But I got an arc for Bella Revolted by Lindsay Miller. This is a story set in France. It's about a girl named Emile. She's more comfortable holding scalpels and like like more medical tools rather than like embroidery and all that stuff. Her family's like high in society, so society dictates her to become a noble woman, and she has to go to like this finishing school to learn like, I think it's called day magic. So someone named Annette, and she is like, they're like from the wrong side of the tracks basically. Their family's very poor and constantly working hard, and she wants to train in learning magic because she has like some magic skills, but she's not allowed to learn about that stuff. So they switch lives. That their nation instigates a terrible war, so they have to work together to help the rebellion before it's too late. From what I remember, this has asexual rep. These next two books are books that I got from Book of the Month, which I'm no longer going to be getting anything from Book of the Month. Well, okay, I decided to stop getting Book of the Month, and I had 2 credits left, so I needed to get some books before they expired. So the first book that I got is Dangerous Alliance by Janique Cohen, and it's like a Jane Austen retelling. I actually really like this cover. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but yeah, I was pretty excited to read this. And then next I got Ink in the Blood by Kim Smejkal. Yeah, I got those 2 books from Book of the Month. So I'm gonna try to put the rest of these books by like trip. Because sometimes I went to, like one time I went to a Barnes & Noble and I went to Half Price Books, so I'm gonna try to put those books all together. But if not, I'm gonna tell you where the books came from. So these next books I got from Target. American Royals by Catherine McGee. I've heard like pretty good things about it. I think I actually, since it came out, I have not heard much about it. But this next book that I got is like a poetry book, and it's called Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Tristan. And I know Julie from Julie's Book Endeavors read this book and she really loved it. I've heard this is a pretty empowering book. I know I could read through this in like one sitting, depending on how hard hitting this is, which I've heard it is. So we'll see how my feelings are. I said I was gonna do based off of like my trips, but I decided that I'm going to just have them by where I got them from. Next up is books that I got when I went to Half Price Books. So the first book is Shadow House Fall by Daniel Jose Older. This is the sequel to his Shadow Shaper series. This is a Latinx, like, I think urban fantasy sort of thing. I haven't read the first one. I started the first one, but this was like $4 I want to say, and I have my copy of Shadow Shaper is paperback, but like I never see books like I never see this series anywhere, so I saw it and I was like, you know what, I don't know when the hell I'll be able to see the next one. So yes, I'm not going to read what this is about because again, I haven't read Shadow Shaper, so I don't want to spoil myself. Next up, I got The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've heard very good things about it. This was also very cheap. I think this was like $5, and I've heard very good things about it, and I've literally had my eye on it for so long. So but next I got a graphic novel called Misfit City Volume 1. It's written by Kiwi Smith, Kurt Lustgarten, and illustrated by Naomi Franquist. So it's about a girl named Wilder. She lives in this town called Cannon Cove, and she feels super like smothered. I guess this is where like this 1980s cult film was filmed, or it's like based off of. It's called The Gloomies, which The Gloomies, Goonies, you get it. She wants to get away from her town and move on to bigger things, even if it means leaving her best friends behind. But then she finds a map, a pirate map, and so she decides to go to read the map and to go on this adventure. So next, from Half Price Books, I got The Inexplicable Logic of My Life by Benjamin Alida Sainz. This is the same author who wrote Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which was one of my favorite books of last year. I think it's like in the top 3, to be honest. We all know I'm a cover buyer. That's nothing new, and you know what, this next one was definitely a cover buy, but I know that it's like got some other stuff that I would be really interested in. That is The Graces by Laura Eve. This cover is honestly so cool. I love this cover so much. So this again was a cover buy and she was cheap. I'm not ashamed. We all do it. You know what? Maybe not we all do it, but just people who have like a better who are stronger than I. Next up, I got The Shadow Glass by Rin Chupeco. This is the third and the final book in her Bone Witch series. I read the first one. I have the second one. I haven't read it yet, but I saw it there. Next up, I got Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the second book in her Children of Blood and Bone series. I did enjoy the first one. Honestly, this cover again, I freaking love this cover. I kind of wish the first one matched this one, because can you imagine the power? The sequel just came out, so I'm hoping to read it pretty soon. It actually feels like it's smaller than Children of Blood and Bone. I haven't heard really much about the sequel, so I don't know what that means. So the last book that I got from Half Price Books is Mr. Nice Guy by Jennifer Miller and Jason Pfeiffer. This is about a man and a woman. The man's name is Lucas Callahan. He like worked in law, but he gave it up, and he gave up his law degree, fiance, and the future he had to be like a big shot in the small town that he used to live in, to move to New York City to try to make it big. So he gets a job at a magazine, and he's writing like low entry articles, but then he's like, no, it's just like a stepping stone. I'll make it big one day. It's fine. But then we also meet a woman named Carmen Kelly. She wants to be a hard-hitting journalist, but she ends up working at the same magazine as homeboy, as Lucas, as a sex columnist. One of her next articles is about like an unfortunate sexual encounter she had where the guy was just not that great. She writes about her last encounter, which the guy was like nice, but he was like nerdy and kind of awkward, and he was pretty good looking, but just not that great in bed. So then Lucas finds out that he actually is said guy that she wrote about, and he decides to write back to her. He signs it Mr. Nice Guy, so it gets a lot of like attention from like the readers. So the people who are in charge of the magazine decide to have an arrangement. Every week Lucas and Carmen have to sleep together, and I'm explaining as I'm explaining this, it just sounds insane, but each week they sleep together and they have to write about it for the magazine. I literally have heard nothing about this book, but I have been in such a new adult mood lately, so yes. Sorry guys, that was not the last book actually that I got from Half Price Books. It's called Night by Ellie Wiesel. I read this when I was in high school. I remember reading it and I fucking like, I cried. This is an autobiography. Him and his father were actually in the concentration camps during World War II. You know what? Is this like the first, like a first edition? This is, oh wow, that makes sense. This is the 25th anniversary edition, which this was actually published in, this was originally published in 1960, and then this edition came out in 1986. So yeah, I love that book so much, but it is very heavy topics. So this next pile are books that I got from my local Second and Charles, which first of all, I've already talked about. I love Second and Charles because you can always get books that are super like backlisted and like really fucking random ass books, because I found like 3 times I found books that I was looking for, because I remember reading them in high school in my at the library in the town I used to live in, and like if I were to try to find them online, they would be like $35, and most of the time they're like super thin, like very similar to this copy, but they'd be like $35 just because they're like very out of print and like you can never really find them. But the first book is one that I'm literally raving about because of Second and Charles, and it's called Emergency Room by Caroline B. Cooney. This is about two volunteers named Diana and Seth, and it's literally them volunteering in like the emergency room and just like stuff. I think it's 24 hours in the emergency room, and it's literally just stories and like snippets of each story that you see of like cases in the emergency room. It got pretty wild because again, like emergency room, that's emergency things, so obviously it's emergency cases, so some of them are not so severe, some of them are pretty wild. I read this in high school, and I remember really enjoying it when I read it, so I just randomly thought about it the other day, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can find it there. So I did. Thank God. I also got Flight 116 is Down by Caroline B. Cooney. I never read this one. They actually had a lot of her books there, but we'll see how I like this one. And this book was $2, and this one was $1.65, which these are like, they're really expensive. I would have been upset. Yeah, if you guys have a Second and Charles and you want to look for books that are like pretty out of print, check it out. Like, I recommend it. Next up, I got The Vicious Deep by Zoraida Cordova. I believe this is her debut novel, which Zoraida Cordova wrote the Brooklyn Bruja series, and I really enjoy the series from what I've read so far, so I want to read all of her works, and I was so surprised when I found this because, again, this is a book that is not very talked about a lot. It's kind of hard to find it places, so again, check out your local Second and Charles if you have one. So this is about a boy named Tristan, and he disappeared for 3 days. It says that he was sucked into a tidal wave, and then when he came back 3 days later, he has like no memory of what happened, but he has like these nightmares now of like mermaids with razor sharp teeth, which already I'm like, mermaids and like evil I don't know if they're evil, but like razor sharp teeth, that's an interesting description. So then his best friend Layla thinks that there's like, she's convinced that there's something wrong. He doesn't know how to explain that he can now sense emotions that he was never able to sense before, and that he is also the heir of a kingdom he's never known that's existed. So now he has to fight for his life in a battle that he had no part of whatsoever, but because of, I'm assuming, his heirdom, he gets sucked into. I have heard no one really talk about The Vicious Deep, but I love Zoraida Cordova, so I'm excited for that one. Next up, I got Undead Girl Game by Lily Anderson. I've heard like mixed things about this book, but it was like $5 at Second and Charles, so I was like, okay, let's get it. So this is about a teenage girl named Mila Flourish. Like, she doesn't care about anyone's opinion about her but her best friend Riley. One day, Riley and two mean girls from the school they go to are discovered dead, and it's like under mysterious circumstances, but people say that it's like that they were part of a suicide pact. But Mila doesn't believe that her best friend, who she knows everything and shares everything with, would be a part of that pact. She decides to bring back her best friend from the dead so she can discover the truth about what happened. When she does that though, she brings back the other two girls as well, but they have like no recollection of what happened to them and how they died. They've got some unfinished business to do, and they only have 7 days before the spell wears off and they have to return to their grave. I've heard mixed reviews about this book, but this year I want to read like a lot of Latinx books, so I'm very excited to read this one. Obviously, because why else would I have bought it? I'm not gonna buy a book that I don't want to read. Next up is Damsel by Elena K. Arnold. I've heard like little to no, not good things. I haven't really heard anything about this book. I've had my eye on it mostly because of the cover, because I think it's so cool. But yeah, I know it has to do with magic. Last book I got from Second and Charles, called White Cat by Holly Black, and I believe this is one of her like earlier novels. The book was like $6.15, so I was like, you know what, I like Holly Black, so let's pick it up. I don't know if it's gonna be good. I haven't really heard The reviews are okay on Goodreads, so we'll see. The last pile is from Barnes and Noble. My favorite. I spent too much fucking money there. Do I care? A little bit, but not enough to stop. Well, I've gone like 3 times to Barnes and Noble. But like the first 2 times, I don't remember which books I got each time. The third time I do remember because I literally just went on Tuesday. So we're gonna start with the oldest ones and then we're gonna end with the newest ones. This first book I got because I was very I wanted to get the ARC. I wanted to get the e-arc from Neck Alley, but I was denied, but that's fine because my feedback rate is trash, so I don't blame him. But it's His Hideous Heart, which is an anthology full of retellings for Edgar Allan Poe's like stories and poems. Yeah, I believe Knox from Knox reads. Knox, did you read this? I don't remember. I know you got the ER, but I don't remember you mentioning if you've finished it. I don't know, you'll have to tell me. I got Love Her or Lose Her, which is the sequel to Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This follows Rosie and Dominic, which we met them in Fix Her Up. They have like problems in their marriage because like they don't really communicate that well. But it's like just follows them as they try to fix their marriage. Next, I got The Walled City by Ryan Groden. Sorry. This was like in their section where it's like final call, you know, where they're like super bargained, and this was like $5. I believe it's like more of a horror. It seems like it's got some like magic elements to it, so $5. I should stop doing that. I was reading like the Goodreads average rating. It seemed like it had a pretty high rating, so I was like, you know what, why not? If anything, I'll just unhaul it if I don't find myself like liking it whenever I read it. Whenever I read any of these books, which I read like 1 since I got them. Next, I got Now Entering Adamsville by Francesca Zappia. When I see Adamsville, I thought of Addams Family, but a town called Adamsville, which is full of ghosts. They pretty much walk wherever they want to. Apparently, like, people think it's like a tourist sort of thing. So a girl named Zora who lives in that town, she knows that they're real and it's not just a tourist trap thing. And she knows there is something else that also is lurking in the darkness. So then Zora is framed for a crime that she didn't commit, and the supernatural is now just running crazy throughout Adamsville. So she has to track down the true culprit, clear her name, protect her family and friends before the creatures destroy the town. But she has a lot of trouble with convincing people of the town that the ghosts and the monsters are real. Have heard nothing about this, but like this gives me like Scooby-Doo / Addams Family vibes. Next up, I got The Devil's Highway by Luis Alberto Uria. This is about a group of men who cross the border throughout the deadliest like region called the Devil's Highway. This is a book about immigrants crossing the border. We love to support actual own voices books and not books that are written by white people who just want to get money off of it. Fuck you, Janine. I also got Scavenged the Stars by Tara Sim. From the description, this is a gender-bent retelling of the Count of Monte Cristo. I really love this cover. Like, it's so cool. Like, that's what really caught my attention. And Julie and Jules and I are gonna do a buddy read next week, so very excited for that. Next, I got How to Love by Katie Cotugno. So this is about a girl named Irina. She lives in like this small town, and she like there's this guy in her school, I'm assuming his name is Sawyer, and she's been in love with him forever, but he doesn't really know she exists until one day he does. They get into this relationship, they fall in love, and it's like super messy, and like they love each other. Sawyer disappears one day, and he leaves their town and Rena behind, and surprise surprise, Rena's pregnant. 3 years he returns, and we meet Rena's daughter, Hannah. He wants to get back, like nothing really happened, I guess, that maybe he didn't leave, and you know, she's hesitant about letting him back in, which, like, girl, I feel ya. So because now she has her daughter to think about. She can't just be like, ha ha ha, let's, you know, she's an adult, she's a mom, she has to think about her kid. So yeah, this seems honestly cute, hopefully. Next up we have Would Like to Meet by Rachel Winter. So this is about a woman named Evie Summers, and she works at like this filming agency, and there she meets one of their biggest clients. His name is Ezra Chester, and Ezra is a screenplay writer, and her job is to try to get him to write a rom-com screenplay that he owes the producers, because if not, her career is down the toilet. He doesn't think that rom-coms are realistic. The only way he'll do it is if Evie convinces him that, like, it's possible to meet a man in real life the way it happens in the movies. Which, first of all, dude, it's the fucking movies. Nobody... It's a movie. Not always realistic. Like, you go into a movie theater knowing that, so... But Evie's, like, a bit cynical. She doesn't really believe in happily ever after either, but, you know, her job's on the line, so she's gonna do whatever it takes to get this freaking screenplay out. Next up, I got Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. This is the first book in a series of like a genre that I really don't read whatsoever, and it's called like grimdark, specifically grimdark fantasy, where it's like Game of Thrones-esque, where it's like very bloody, like gory. It's got like really dark scenes in the books. When I was doing research on like grimdark fantasies, this is like the first book that really popped up, other than Game of Thrones. But like Game of Thrones is so fucking big, I don't want to get into that series. Like, it intimidates me. So I was like, you know what, this series is already done, let's read this one. And I read the first chapter, and like it starts off with like blood and a village being slaughtered. So if you're not good with like that kind of thing, stay away. I think I'll do like, I don't know, I say I'll do a review, but who knows if I actually will do a review. But I'm excited to read that because it's like it's a trilogy. Alright guys, we're in the last 3 books, and these are the books that I got on Tuesday, and they're all new releases, literally just came out on Tuesday. So, first book that I got is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. So Mia was actually left at the altar, and she's a wedding planner. I say Mia. This is about a woman named Carolina who has to work with the man who is the best man who from her own wedding, which I guess he is one of the biggest reasons why she was left at the altar. So she works with Max Hartley. He's in marketing. He's trying to work with like a hotel brand that's trying to expand their company, but he finds out he's gonna work with his brother's ex-fiance. So it seems kind of hate to lovey, which I'm down for. You know, y'all know I am a stan for hate to love. I don't know if it's like real hate to love, but it's like they got beef. What makes it super awkward is because you know that they're gonna, stuff's gonna happen, and that's his brother's ex. It's gonna get messy. Okay, next I got All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This book, this cover is so stunning. I'm pretty sure she doesn't watch my videos, but like, Heather from Aphrodite Reads, can you do a look? Because I cannot do cool tones to save my life. So like, can you do a look based off of this cover? please, please, please. So this is about a girl. She is a princess from her kingdom Pisidia, and she's trained her whole life to be a high animancer, which is a master of souls. The rest of her kingdom can choose their magic, but she's never really had a choice. To secure her place as heir to the throne, she has to prove her mastery of the monarchy's dangerous soul magic. But on the day of her demonstration, like, things go wrong and she has to flee. She strikes a deal with a pirate named Bastion, and he has to help her prove that she's fit to rule, and in exchange she's gonna help him claim or reclaim his stolen magic. But sailing around proves to be more of an adventure and more perilous than she could have ever imagined. A new and destructive magic is on the rise, and in order for Amora to conquer it, she has to face legendary monsters and deal with stowaways, or she'll risk the fate of her kingdom and everyone in it. This is new, but like, ocean books are so cool. I just wish like I read more of the books about the ocean, but this book is so freaking, it just sounds awesome. So the very last book is literally the reason why I went to Barnes & Noble on Tuesday, and that is because of the release of The King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is the fourth and the final book in the Diviner series, so clearly I cannot give too much information, but this is set with a group of people who have like powers. It's set in 1920s New York. It's like paranormal. That's what it is. It's paranormal because it has like ghosts and the King of Crows, which he scares the shit out of me. I actually started it already, so hopefully I'll read it sometime, or I'll finish it sometime soon. I'm very sad that this is the last book, but the third book left me shook. I was so glad I didn't have to wait super long for it to come out. That's the last of this book haul, which leaves me with a haul, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Shit, I lost count. Fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34 books. Not bad. Kind of a lot because it's like the start of the year. It's only the second month of the year. That's fine. It's okay. It happens. Hopefully I'll get to all these books soon. Be on the lookout for an unhaul. Who knows? Probably. Maybe. Maybe not. But just be on the lookout because I definitely want to do a reorganization video for my bookshelves very soon. I might also do all my unread books on my bookshelf, which I'll figure out after I figure out the books that I no longer want. So I got a pretty good amount of videos, but who knows when that's gonna happen. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!